Thanks everybody for checking out this video. And boy, today was definitely an intense day. So this is what you're seeing on the screen right here is my second session of the day. This was filmed this evening. I did my morning session, and I've been trying more and more to try and get 2 sessions in a day now. Reason for it basically is just I have, as you can see on that list right there, right on the screen, I got a lot to get done by the end of this year. So do my best to kind of push myself a little bit more each day, and just adding a second session is a way to get some extra time at the keyboard. I'm still doing my morning, 90-ish minutes, and then jumping right, in the evening, I'm maybe at least a half hour in here after work. And it's not a terrible amount of extra words that I'm getting. I'm getting an extra, maybe a couple paragraphs at the most, but it's enough. It's enough to make a bit of a difference over the long term. And I'm now recording this here, a bit later in the evening. Man, so I talk a lot about the necessity to recover. If you are writing daily, like I am, you need to recover. I know it sounds really stupid, because when you think of recovery, you think of, like athletes, you think of, these sort of high functioning individuals, that require a lot of physical exertion. And with writing being more of a mental exercise, you don't think that recovery is needed. However, I'm here to tell you, you do. For a lot of years, I was actually, I was somewhat shamed by the fact that I considered writing to be difficult, right? Because, you tell somebody, hey, I'm just exhausted, I've been writing. And to anybody else, it makes no sense in the world, right? Because writing doesn't require that physical exertion, right? It's you're at a keyboard. You're sitting there getting words onto a page, you're typing it out. People write on their phones nowadays. They don't view writing as a very taxing activity. And it's hard to convey to others the effect that writing has on you and how tiring it can be. And for a long time, I used to buy into that narrative. I used to think, all right, look, writing isn't that tough. Stop giving yourself a pass in these scenarios here. Stop thinking that you're exhausted and that you're getting worn out and that you need to kind of take some time. You need to take a break, whatever, right? Forever, I used to think that, because where I am, like where I live, and people I know, so many of them do like labor, blue collar work, trades, right? They're specialists, they're subcontractors, they are subcontractors, I'm thinking of. Yeah, they're just people that basically are very, very good with working with their hands, for lack of a better term, right? And to ever convey tiredness to them is to convey physical exertion. And to compare your tiredness to theirs is considered laughable by them. And with that, and that's like your frame of reference your whole life. Well, yeah, writing is never going to be seen as challenging at all. But it is. It is. And it's one thing I've learned a bit more this year, is the idea that writing at a very high level requires lots of recovery. It's needed. If you don't believe me, consider how few writers there are out there that are really good. How few are published, right? It is a lot easier to work a manual job than it is to write. The difficulty is not the same. Having said that, I could not do that all day. I have before and hated it and left. I could not do, I could not cut trees all day. I could not work a construction site all day. It's not for me. It does require a level of physical demand that I absolutely just do not enjoy. But writing is a different sort of difficulty. It's its own challenge. And to do it well, you need to be recovered well. And so, as I say that, I hope I've impressed upon you the need and the understanding that if you're writing, don't feel guilty for saying that you're tired, for saying that you're exhausted, for saying that you need a break. Don't feel guilty at all. This is not easy. And I've never heard of anyone getting, tree cutter's block, right? I've never heard of electrician's block or plumber's block, right? It doesn't exist. Writer's block can be a somewhat real thing. And a lot of that is because you aren't recovered. You have exhausted your creative muscles and have not recovered. And unfortunately, we don't really understand the creative process that well. We as, humanity have not delved into how the creative process works, and it still remains a sort of ethereal sort of art form, right? It's the muse. We still believe in the muse to a degree, right? That our ideas come from some mystical realm. And so we don't necessarily know how to recover as well as athletes that have been studied, as well as just laborers that know, hey, just stop working for the day, right? We don't really know what recovery looks like outside of taking time away from the keyboard and maybe doing something else, or reading, or using a different part of our brain than the creative side of it. So I'd encourage you, if you're doing this, protect your energy. Protect it. You will fail writing every day much more because you haven't recovered than you will because you don't feel like writing. At a very higher level of this, right? After, once you get past me, the first 2 months, right? The first 2, maybe 3 months of this, if you're writing consistently, I'm betting you will stop because you get tired and because you need to take time away rather than just not being in the mood to write. That's the sort of thing that will stop you, not so much the traditional ideas of procrastination. And so I'd encourage you, protect your energy. If you're doing this, protect it. I am sort of burning the candle at both ends for the moment here, but it's not going to be something, I don't think that'll last forever. And if I start to get really, kind of burnt out, I'll scale it back. But protect your energy at all costs.